Okay. All right, I'm going to admit people then.
Sweet.
All right.
Off we go. Thanks, Martin.
You're good.
Cheers. Let's see. Orel, what does he say? Is Orel, I guess he's in the waiting room, isn't he? Okay. I can admit everyone. Good evening, everybody. Good day. Some
One of the
people
two.
still joining us.
Hello.
Hello.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
You-
hello.
Yes, Carl here. No, just to for the sequence. So I'll just interview after you welcome us to 1 or 2 minutes to say some words from the commission side.
Excellent. Yes, I'm aware of that. We welcome your participation, Carl.
I do this on behalf of Roberto, who's unfortunately for me, but lucky for him, on holidays in Paraguay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Excellent.
nice.
Okay, I think we have a number of people who are still joining us, but everybody has showed up on time, so I don't want to keep you all waiting. I want to begin by welcoming all of you. My name is Ahab Downer, and I'm the director of the Green Overseas Program. And tonight, the topic of tonight's meeting is the inaugural meeting of the Expert Working Group on Climate Finance. We have, I think, some 25 people attending. Many of those of the 25 overseas countries and territories of the European Union and the United Kingdom that are partners of the Green Overseas Program. I want to underline that we are recording this meeting so that others that can't join us tonight will be able to refer to it. And if anybody has a problem with that, I invite you to let me know, and we can send you a recording afterwards if you don't wish to participate. Once again, the purpose of this meeting is to further the work that we've begun with many of you on climate finance. This is a major topic and a major objective of the Green Overseas Program, in large part because it was identified as such by many of you, the partners of the Green Overseas Program, representatives of the overseas countries and territories. And in the wake of the Climate Finance Forum that we held and many of you attended in Brussels in October of last year, we felt it was important to continue the good work that we started with all of you, and to continue moving forward with a lot of the paths that we've identified together. Before I get underway, although we have a pretty charged agenda, I want to take a quick moment to ask each of you to introduce yourselves very briefly, perhaps just your name, your territory or organization, and the role that you play in that territory or country and or organization. And just to facilitate that, I'll call on you individually. Perhaps I'll start with Gert, if I might.
Good afternoon. My name is Gert Bogers, and I work as the EU focal point in Bonaire.
Excellent. Thank you, Gert. And Tracy.
Hello. Can
Hi,
you hear me?
Tracy.
Hi, my name is Tracy Bradshaw. I am the newly elected chair of the United Kingdom Overseas Territories Association.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Miriam.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bonjour, Myriam Vendée-Leclerc. Je travaille pour le gouvernement de la Nouvelle-Calédonie, ou plus exactement pour le service de la météorologie et du climat. Et je travaille à la mise en place de la stratégie d'adaptation au changement climatique du territoire. Voilà.
Parfait. Bienvenue, Miriam.
Merci.
Just for those of you who might wish to use our translation, we have simultaneous translation made available by partners of ours, and there's a link down at the bottom that you can click on, and there's a French channel. So individuals like Miriam, you can hear her in English, and Miriam, you can hear the rest in French, should you wish to. Going on, Bianca.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Bianca Peters. I'm the liaison for the Cabinet of the Special Envoy for Bonaire, Sint Eustatius, and Saba.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Louis.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Louis.
Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't see. My name is Louis Paris. I'm the treasurer for Aruba. I assist the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Nature in terms of climate finance as well.
Brilliant. Good to see you, Louis. And Marissa.
Good afternoon, everyone. Marissa Allen from the Energy Department within the Government of Montserrat.
Brilliant. Welcome. And Beth.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Beth Chafin, and I am within the Policy and Project Bureau of SABA, specifically working on nature and environmental policy program and climate projects.
Excellent. Welcome, Beth. And Derek.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Derek Rollins. I'm with the Ministry of Finance from the country of Bermuda.
Excellent. Good to see you, Derek. I see Rudy has stepped away. Rudy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rudy L'Espagnol. I'm the representative of Saint-Pierre-and-Miquelon. I'm the focal point for the program Green Overseas.
Brilliant. Welcome, Rudy. Let's see. Joaquim. Joaquim Christensen. We can come back to Joaquim. Aviyaya.
Hello, everyone. Aviyaya Rosing Olsen from the government of Greenland, and I'm here with Joachim. He seems to have a bit of problems with his audio, but I'm sure he'll manage to fix it very shortly.
Excellent. Welcome, Aviyaya. And Lisa.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lisa Hurlston McKenzie. I'm the Senior Policy Advisor for Climate Resiliency in the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency in the Cayman Islands. Nice to see you all and nice to see some familiar faces from Brussels conference. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Lisa. I see we have an individual from the government of Anguilla, but it's Anthony.
Hi, everybody. This is Anthea. I'm representing the government of Anguilla. I'm also the GO focal point.
Brilliant. I see we have Diana.
Yes, hi, my name is Diana Azor. I am representing the OCTA based in Brussels. I'm in the Secretariat as the finance officer.
Brilliant. Okay. Welcome. Let me see, who haven't I invited? Somebody is registered as Kudos.
Thank you. My real name is Peter Thomas. I represent Ascension Island Government in the South Atlantic, and my job role is Director of Resources. Good evening, everybody.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us. Julius.
Hi, good day, everyone. I'm Julius Lambert, representing the government of St. Martin. I'm the recently elected focal point for the GEO climate financing program.
Brilliant. Welcome. H.C. Farrar.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever everyone is. Hello, I'm from the Government of Bermuda. I am the Chief Operating Officer for the Ministry of Finance.
Brilliant. Let's see. Is there anyone that I have failed to introduce? I know that there's Emily.
Hi everyone. I'm Emily Wilkinson. I'm a principal researcher at ODI, based in London, and director of the Resilient Sustainable Islands Initiative, and technical lead for the consortium that is implementing the Green Overseas Climate Fund for Expertise France. Very nice to see you all.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us, Emily. Is there someone else that I have failed to ask to introduce themselves? Please raise your hand if you will. I don't see anybody else. In that case, let me just quickly introduce some of my colleagues. Also joining us is our regional coordinator in the Caribbean, Lena Toad, as well as Aurel Descharid, who is our regional coordinator for all territories that are not in the Caribbean or the Pacific, so more centrally from some perspective. I'd like to, as such, turn it over to special guest, Carl from the INPA EU program.
Yeah, thank you, Ahab. Good evening to all to you. I'm Carl Rabert. I'm working in INPA B3, the Commission's OCTs unit. So also from my side, a warm welcome to all the participants of today's meeting. Just a few words from the Commission side. So as you know, the GEO program is financed by the EU under the 11th EDF and is aiming at the promotion of low carbon energy transition and resilience to climate change for both the EU and UK overseas countries and territories. And as we all know, sustainable climate finance mechanisms are at the heart of these challenges. And it was therefore a pleasure also for me to be able to attend your forum that you held in October last year in Brussels. And I'm now very pleased to see that commitment we started last year see now concrete progress. We launched today the work, as I understand, of this expert working group on climate finance, and I'm very happy to see this operational program progress. So on behalf of the European Commission, I'd like to congratulate you on this initiative and encourage you to continue studying throughoutly the topic of access to climate finance. And of course, I'm looking forward to the results that will be produced by your group, and conclude by thanking you and the organizers of this meeting, and wishing you very fruitful discussions. And of course, I would be happy if I could receive your report later on. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Carl. And before I turn it over to a colleague, I'd like to also introduce Julie Luca, who is our regional coordinator in the Pacific, who is also joining us. And now I'm going to turn it over to Robert Moons, who is our secretary for this expert working group and is helping the GO program on a number of different dossiers, but very specifically of great help to us in helping to organize and facilitate this group. So over to you, Robert.
Thank you very much, Ahab. Welcome, fellow OCT, OT colleagues and partners, both in the English channel and in the French-speaking channel. Bonsoir, bonjour. Of course, it's a pleasure to be of service to you through this initiative and to assist you as secretary of this working group. Allow me just to introduce some of the logistics of this group and also a couple of the modalities that are being envisioned. And I'm referring here to the memorandum, which is called Establishment of the GO Climate Finance Working Group, which was disseminated both in English and in French, and which has a lot of details on this topic as to frame the purpose and scope of this group. But I'd just like to single out a few items so that we are all on the same information level. So in terms of logistics, we have proposed to meet once monthly. So it's a monthly meeting and on a fixed day. So it's the third Thursday of the month. The dates will be announced and scheduled ahead with the start time of now, which is 2100 Central European time, which is the only time that can reasonably accommodate all territories. It means some people were asking to make some concessions outside of regular office hours. Apologies, but it's for the collective benefit as we are a global constellation. And in order not to take too much of your time, it's just 1 hour. We are running the meeting today with 2 languages, English channel and French channel, with live translation, thanks to our translation partner. We hope that it will be a good format. We will see how it goes. We will ask you for email feedback after the meeting. Because another option is to split and have 2 meetings, French and English, although then we lose the synergies of being together. Also, in terms of representation, so from the beneficiary countries and territories, we have 1 individual appointed by the territory and a substitute. It's a backup person. We were asked to include both persons in the correspondence loop, so we will do so. So both persons will receive all the correspondence. And if there are moments when both persons would like to attend due to certain topics, then you can notify us and that will not be a problem. You will also be asked to confirm attendance before the meeting so that we have an impression of where we stand with the organization of each meeting. So please bear with us on the emails. Thank you. And another petition, which is in the memorandum, is if you could keep your country leadership informed. So as a member of this working group, you are asked to keep your country leadership informed in terms of, for example, the head of government or the minister who is responsible for climate or finance, the one who is most close to this topic, so to speak, so that we are sure that there is a linkage and buy-in. And also your representative to either the EU or the UK, because those individuals serve a very important role. And also to your OCTA or your quota member, if it's not the same individual as the representative to the EU or the UK. although in most cases it is the same individual. And so then that will not be another person. And you are free to share the documentation to them. Of course, we are not sharing the documentation outside this group unless formally published through the Go program's communications channels, websites, or platform, or social media with endorsement of the program director. Not to make this too long, the last point I would like to mention is the modality of this working group and the mandate. So as you would have seen in the memorandum, we are working based on an advisory nature. So this is a technical expert working group with an advisory mandate. We are not decision makers. Any decision making is to be done by either the Green Overseas Program Steering Committee, if it relates to program matters such as budgets, or it's to be decided by the political level. So then we refer to the country leaderships, the OCTA, the UCOTA, maybe the member states, or even the EU, depending on the topic. And what we do is we basically work on action items that we're going to discuss in the next agenda points based on our expertise, and based on that, present recommendations to the aforementioned bodies. And also based on the assignments that we get from them, of course. Then related to the execution of actions, to be honest, we are trying to make it somewhat easy on you as members of this working group. So the real work, if they're like studies or reports to be written, and that will be the various options. Either it will be one outsourced to service providers, so it could be done by other consultants. Number two, it could be done by the staff of the GROW program, so by the team of regional coordinators and so on, or others. Or it could be done, of course, also by you yourself if you volunteer. But we are not putting a burden on you that you must do this or that. We are trying to make it easy. Your main contribution is that we are asking your expert opinion based on your insights and backgrounds. So whatever we're putting on the table and facilitating, it's important to get your feedback. And that feedback can be given either live in this meeting if a certain topic is scheduled, or it could be over email, that the mail is sent and it's been asked to respond over email in order to get the feedback. Those are the main points. As I mentioned in the memorandum, I truly encourage everyone to read the memorandum. I'm not going to project it now with all the details, but it's explaining this story, and we very much value your support, or actually your attendance, your contribution and participation to this initiative. That was a small briefing on the working group, and I'll hand it over to Ahab before going into the next item, which is the action plan. If you have anything to add, maybe Ahab or...
The only thing I'd like to add further to what you've said, Robert, is that I want to reiterate that the GO program is very keen to facilitate and mobilize this group and to undertake the studies and the actions that we all collectively see as necessary. We will continue to consult with the likes of experts like Emily Wilkinson and the ODI group and others, should and when it is necessary. And of course, the great wealth of this working group, as Robert has pointed out, are individuals like yourselves who have tuned in and who are making time to participate in this working group. I think that's all I have to share in that regard, and I think we can move to the next agenda point, Robert.
Okay, thank you very much, Ahab. Now we will go in the next agenda point, which is the action plan. Actually, I'm going to be projecting my screen this time, so bear with me with that. And a small item is that our time span is until, formally right now, until the end of this year. So we have this calendar year to work together. Okay, I will now take the screen and ask if it is visible. Is it visible?
It is. You can enlarge a little bit if you will, Robert.
Yes. So just in terms of where we are, this was the agenda, and we had the opening remarks and a small introduction on the working group, logistics. Now we'll go to the action plan. After that, will discuss a climate finance roadmap, and we'll have also time for discussion, which is of course very important to get some feedback from you. So please allow us to speak and present the material, and then we'll have more time left for joint discussion after that.
I want to be a cartoon, so my dad wasn't there.
Sorry?
I think that's, we have a couple of people that have joined us. I know Ateliana has joined us and Eric Salamanca. Eric, I think that was your mic. Welcome, both of you. Back to you, Robert.
Eric, also welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so just to introduce this topic, of course, we are a working group, but we cannot work without an action plan or a work plan. As team of the GO program, together with ODI, we have been consolidating the findings of the forum, as we're not starting from scratch, but rather the intention is to work on actions that are coming forth out of the forum. In the memorandums that were sent, both the one on the next steps and the expert working group, you will find some explanations and summaries of the forum outcomes. I must say that I noticed that the memorandum on the forum next steps, maybe the file is corrupted, which is something I discovered just before this meeting. So if needed, we're going to resend that document both in English and in French, because it appears it's not always opening, although it was disseminated in December also, but still it's going to resend. So from the forum and discussing climate finance, challenges, and what it would be needed for and why we need it, we came on to finally then the proposed actions. And those are centered around three pillars. And I'd like to review those pillars, but you will find them in the screen here. This is the English version in the Appendix A of the memorandum. And here is the French one, Plan d'action préliminaire, which has the identical information. You will find it with the details in the back. Of course, we cannot discuss all the details today. We'll ask you also for feedback after this meeting, but I just like to outline the structure. So one of the key elements raised at the forum was awareness, because it was observed that there's a need to declutter the climate finance landscape, especially for small territories. And this is where the action plan is listing various items to address awareness in order to create more transparency on the climate finance that is already out there and available today, which was also mentioned by several of the EU officers. And perhaps we can expand this list with, for example, the website of the Special Envoy for Bonaire, and Stacia has a website which is listing all of the EU programs, which we can also give some awareness to, and there are deliverables in the Go community that we also listed here, and which help to create more transparency into what is available. The other issue, kind of a red thread in the forum, was capacity. So there's a need for capacity building. Why is this? Because it was observed that often application procedures for bilateral funds or even European programs are hard to navigate, and our territories, they lack either capacity or the time to conduct those procedures. So we need to build either capacity in the territories or offer technical assistance beyond the Go program even maybe. And this holds not only for public funds, but also for the knowledge how to leverage private finance. Like Bermuda had a splendid presentation during the forum on an innovative fund that was using carbon credits to attract money. But that kind of knowledge is very proprietary still. And you will see that in this list, there's a notion of regional cooperation. So the idea here is to conduct several studies, a feasibility study on enhancing regional cooperation in the Pacific, in the Caribbean, or to explore appointment of focal points at regional organizations, or to look into innovative finance solutions, as I just mentioned, or to look into future technical assistance programs, even beyond the lifetime of the Go program, that could be of service. The last pillar, not to take too much time, was the other recurring topic, if I may, during the forum, and as we summarize it as eligibility, because there were multiple speakers who voiced that the overseas contingent territories and the overseas territories currently do not have access to global multilateral climate finance streams or even multilateral development banks. I believe there's even no OCT with experience with the European Investment Bank, which is the largest MDB on earth. So looking into this topic through a feasibility study is one of the items that was on the drawing board. There was a special discussion on the global climate treaties, as some of the beneficiary territories, not all, but some, have already either joined these treaties, or they're in process of, or they have expressed the intention, and others have conveyed that they do not intend to do so. But for the ones who are interested, they are welcome to join a study on the benefits and obligations of doing so, and possible options for climate finance, not in the short, but rather in the mid to long term. And that's also where the notion of the at the bottom of the page, you'll see the acronym, the MVI, the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index, as now developed for small island development states, sits. That methodology, I mean, it's not the MVI which sits, but that methodology and thinking could be very interesting for us in the longer term. And ODI or others could assist us in this area. So that would be the third pillar. There's also pillar number 0, which is called general items. And this pillar has to do with either logistics or general things like building a common narrative on why climate finance is needed. It was already stated in Brussels, but we do not have a consolidated document with data, you know, how much of our land is below sea level or under the threat of a 1 meter sea level rise, or what kind of biodiversity is there to protect, and so on. So not to take this too long, but that's one of the items. There was the proposal by OCTA to work on a joint declaration. That will be the next agenda point. so I'll skip that. And there's a notion of organizing side events at possibly the EU OCT Forum in 2025 or at the COP30 in collaboration with partner organizations or joining partner organizations. And that will be a recurring attention point. So I invite you to review this work plan in more detail. Today, we not have all the time for a detailed discussion on each item, but it's important to think on priorities. Maybe at the end we can get back on that under the leadership of Aurel Reed and see where should we start or what's the most pressing issue. And you will have also the opportunity to contribute more detailed input after this meeting, as we mentioned. Thank you very much. I'd like to hand over now back to Ahab.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Robert. I know we have a very dense agenda, and we're trying to stay within the time limits. So I asked Robert to run through that quite quickly. And now I'd like to ask Lena to take the next agenda point.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Robert, and thanks, Ahab, also. Now the idea of this agenda point is to dive a little bit deeper into one of the items that you have just seen in the action plan as the joint declaration on access to climate finance. And I would just like to give a little bit of a context about the why and what of this roadmap or declaration, especially for those who have not been following this effort since it started. So we know that EU and UK OCTs, including their population and their biodiversity, are particularly vulnerable to the effects of climate change. And there's a number of transformations to be made in the OCTs to become resilient in the face of climate change. And this comes, of course, with an enormous financing need that cannot be met by the OCTs alone. OCTs are small, and they're very specific with regard to their features, which makes it difficult for the OCTs to attract the attention of big donors, let's say. And so therefore, joining forces among the OCTs to communicate that these shared challenges and needs that can make OCT voices more easily heard. And so in this sense, such a joint roadmap can be one of the tools in the toolkit for an enhanced access to climate finance. This is also why the GO Climate Finance Community has been set up at the beginning of the GO program. And since its inception, one of the planned activities of the community has been to develop key messages and a coordinated position to strengthen the OCT's access to climate finance. And this is exactly what this joint climate finance roadmap is about. If we go back to the GO Climate Finance Forum in Brussels in October last year, the OCTs have reiterated the need to develop this common narrative. And so GO was asked for support in this regard. And following this, as Robert has recalled just earlier, there have been memoranda circulated with the relevant GO governance bodies, as well as OCTA and UCOTA, of course. And the development of a joint roadmap was then further supported by the recent meetings that have taken place, be it within OCTA or UCOTA or the different GO governance bodies, namely the Operational Steering Committee and the GO Program Advisory Committee. And now this is where the cooperation with you as members of the expert working group is starting. What we need to advance on this roadmap is basically a first draft of this joint EU and UK OCT climate finance roadmap. And so the GO team now stands ready to support you to get things going on this, and we need your input on it. I would now like to hand it over to Robert, who has been instrumental so far of moving this effort on, to walk us a bit about what we propose as next steps on this effort. So Robert, I would like to give the floor to you.
I thank you, Lena, for that, and of course a pleasure. It's that indeed this was mandated, as Lena already mentioned, and the approach that's suggested is to draw from existing source documents that were previously supported or agreed by all OCTs and OTs, and then produce a similar type of document. Because in the past, there were already several documents that did similar work in this area. For example, the OCTA Sustainable Energy Roadmap that was signed by all of the territories who are in this meeting today. And there's the UK OT Joint Ministerial Council communique, which was adopted last year with common statements on climate change and climate finance. So in order to stay kind of close to home and not to come with too much new things, we will use these documents to prepare a first draft of a possible joint declaration that we can then circulate before the next meeting, so that you can comment on this, or that we will have a discussion on this in the next meeting, and that you can also start sharing with your country leadership to obtain their perspectives. If we, in terms of timeline and the process forward, if we would have as objective to have this declaration adopted at the EU OSCE Forum 2025, although the date has not been set yet, the working assumption is that it would be in June. Then if you work that back, the working group, our group, should prepare this between February and March, so that the political level will have time from April to May to discuss this, and then adopt it in June. So that's the envisioned time frame. February, March would be important for us, because it's going to need time also at a political level. And then for this to be ready in June. It's ambitious, of course. If the OCT forum is delayed, there will be more time to stretch this. So that was what I wanted to share, and I'll hand it back to Ahab. Ahab, you're muted for us.
Thanks, Robert. I think that's pretty clear, and thank you, Lena. It's once again, it's a lot of information, but it's all of this is detailed in the documents that we've shared with you. And please don't hesitate to reach out to Robert or myself or anybody on the Go team for clarification. And of course, we're looking very much forward to getting any feedback you wish to share in the wake of this meeting, and of course in future meetings. Now we wanted to allow a little bit of time for input and discussion from yourselves, and we've asked Aurel Deschamps-Reed, one of our regional coordinators, to facilitate that. So I'm going to turn that over to you, Aurel.
Okay, thanks a lot. Good to see you all. So as you understand, tonight we're discussing about the OCT Climate Finance Roadmap, and with two specific aspects. The first one would be the action plan that Robert has presented, and the joint declaration. So maybe we would like to hear from you if you have any general comments as a start, and maybe some key questions you could answer in the next 15 minutes or so would be about the action plan that was presented, that you have received. If you see some key points that could be higher or lower priorities, if there's anything missing on this action plan, also about the joint declaration, what for you would be the priorities, and maybe lastly, if you have any comments about logistics for the EXWG, so this expert working group that we're having tonight. And as Robert mentioned, that will take place every third Thursday of each month at this time. Now this is a time maybe to have an open floor discussion, and would like to hear from you. So don't be shy, and feel free to speak. And we're a little group. I think we know each other already. Most of us, we've met in person or on Visio. So basically, yes, this is a working group. As we said, we are, we're working with experts, and we want to have your feedback on what are we going to do as the OCT climate finance group, let's say. So the floor is open to all of you now. It's always tricky to be the first one to intervene, I guess, in that moment. And it can be in French, of course, en français si vous voulez, avec la traduction, or in English. But following, let's say, the Climate Finance Forum we had in Brussels last year, this is the follow-up, as you know. So what would be the points you would like to address specifically with the funding we have, and with, as a group, what could we do together to enhance climate finance access for the OCTs and OTs? So what do you think about the action plan?
If I may add, Aurel, one of the things that I'm curious to hear from our team is, and especially in terms of the action plan, the debate on short-term versus long-term actions. So is it more important to, in the short term, create awareness, come with concrete solutions, or is it important to look in the long term and create structural solutions that may take longer to realize, but will enable new avenues? And that balance that we need to create in the plan. Perhaps you could comment on this?
I have a question, or a couple at least. I don't know, and I also, we don't use Zoom, so I'm not sure how to raise my hand. I'm sorry.
It's okay, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Under Pillar 3, Greenland is listed as a WHO, and I'm not sure what exactly that means. If maybe you could comment on it. And I also kind of need a reminder of the financial framework for this project, and what sort of output you expect from each of the pillars. Are we talking like country-specific reports? Obviously, we are the only ones located in the Arctic. We are a little bit different. We're also a very large island, and so on. So it would be good to hear some of your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Yaya. Robert, I'm going to let you take that.
Yes. Okay, so the first question, why Greenland is listed at the third pillar as an information source, due to the fact that Greenland has ascended to the Paris Agreement. So it's now fully recognized within that framework. And there's a lot to learn then from Greenland. And from your experiences in doing so, and also the obligations that come forth out of it. So it would rather not be that Greenland will be asked to do things, but it's rather that you will be interviewed, or you will be asked to share perspectives and experiences.
And in terms of your further question about what sort of finances, there isn't a identified budget to support this working group. but it's going to be on a sort of a needs basis and on an availability of budget basis. But the GO program has the means to mobilize experts to conduct a certain number of studies per region. Those have already been conducted to facilitate further in-person meetings if and when necessary, of a limited number, of course, because those are expensive endeavors. But we do look forward to bringing people together a further time around the OCT EU forum, if necessary, and hosting or animating a climate finance meeting at that time. And then, as Robert underlined, having some sort of follow-up event occurring in Belém in Brazil at COP30. And that's something that the GO program can facilitate and underwrite. And so that's I'm afraid all I can say about the budget that might be behind this current initiative.
Thank you very much. If you have other questions about the action plan, or if you want to intervene about what priorities do you think we should put forward at the top of the list, or some that are not, at the top of yours, this is the time. Maybe Robert, you want to share the action plan, if that's possible, so we can all have an eye on it. And yeah, feel free to react. Again, this is the moment where we try to design together what we're going to do as the OCT OT group in terms of access to climate finance. Thank you. Yeah, Robert, there you go. So when you look at this this action plan, we would like to have your feedback on it. I see that Aviaya, you have raised your hand. Was that from before, or is this a new comment? Yeah, please feel free.
Yes, it's a new comment, and I also learned how to raise my hand, so that's great. No, it's from my colleague Joachim, and as he has some issues with his audio, he is asking me to say that it's very important that the declaration includes both short-term and long-term initiatives to secure climate finance to OCTs.
Excellent. Yeah, a very relevant comment. Thank you. Aurel, you were muted. We didn't hear you.
Yes. No, I was just reflecting on this, thinking the long-term effects are for sure the most important ones, and also we have to take into account that the finance for the activities are often in the short term. So it would be interesting to know what exactly your colleague was meaning, like which activities and which priorities was he mentioning, if that's possible, so that we can go more into depth into this. In the meantime, if other territories want to react to this action plan, sorry, this is the time. Are we globally, like, if someone can say, like, are we globally, do you agree with, pillar 0, pillar 1, pillar 2, 3, or does it sound like totally, off? Does it sound more or less okay? What are your first reactions?
Sorry, guys, I haven't. Oh, I've seen Drexel's raised his hand. I don't know how to do that. Is it okay if I speak first, Drexel, or from my perspective, and I know it's different to everybody's, I don't think there's a quick fix. So we're looking at long-term objectives, but to me, it needs to be sort of a purpose. You know, we know the problems there. How much going into detail of the requirements is going to move us forward? We already know what that is. So there needs to be a balance of what we're doing research. You know, it is of huge concern to me, the effects on Ascension for our unique biodiversity and the marine life, but how much that moves us towards getting finance needs to be in a structured way. In terms of bankable projects, we just don't have bankable projects we can make. We're not going to get a payback. So we really, from my perspective, we need to make the moral case and the case for protecting the island and the world's biodiversity. To me, resilience is more important than reaction. So that may be a little bit waffly, but that's the sort of high level sort of focus points I would raise from an Ascension perspective. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. And now maybe we'll let you Drexel react also.
Hi, good afternoon or good night. Happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah.
I just an observation on Pillar 3. So I know from the OCT's perspective, this is one of the biggest challenges that we have. And I think, I believe I heard at least this agenda should go through the end of this year. I think I heard Robert mention that. And I noticed that this particular activity, is this the completion of this activity under Pillar 3, November 2025, or that's the beginning? Couldn't tell.
Yeah, shall I give some feedback on that?
Sure.
So indeed, the time frame that we have currently is until the end of this year. And it means that these would be mainly studies, so reports being produced, and not yet actual institutional changes or things being instituted.
Yeah.
It would be perhaps even beyond the GO program to Okta Yokota to move that forward. And in this case, it means that by November, we would want this report to be ready and delivered and available to all. And so in order to achieve that, we're gonna need a draft maybe by the summer and then some feedback in order to produce a final report by November. That's indeed how we see, or at least how the work plan should be seen.
Okay, no, just an observation. I just feel like we should be a little aggressive on it. So based on your explanation, it sounds like we'll be starting it pretty quickly to have something by the summer and final report by 2020, I mean, in November. So that's just my observation. Thanks.
Thank you
Yes,
very
and
much.
just to add realistically, and then we go to Avi, who has her hand up. It's ideally we finish this work plan in our next meeting so that the GO program can do the procedure to allocate the resources, and then the studies can start by the end of the first quarter, hopefully. Meaning that the real work in such a case will start by the 1st of April, and then wanting to deliver by November. Back to Aurel and maybe Avi.
Yes, maybe Avi, if you don't mind having a last comment, because I see we are running out of time, if you don't mind, and then maybe we can wrap up, and then we can go through the next steps quickly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's regarding the priorities of the action plan. I think for our case under Pillar 1, the third bullet, to develop 3 sub-regional reports on navigating available climate finance in the Pacific, Atlantic, and Caribbean would be of very high priority for Greenland. And when it comes to Pillar 0, I think it would be maybe less important for us to focus on organizing side events at COP30, because of course side events are good and so on, but we're more focused on securing or making sure that the parties actually listen to us and that we're included in one way or another in the actual climate negotiations.
Okay, yeah, I see. So there's a difference, of course, between the side events and the official representation you have at the COP. And for you, yes, it's less priority. So that's for Greenland, and that's great. I think to have heard you on this. Thank you very much. I think we will send you, of course, again the minutes of this meeting. And therefore you can also react lately on these pillars that we introduce. Again, just all of this is for you. This is the question of what are we going to do with the remaining, money we have within the GO program, and we want to make it as effective as possible for all the OCTs and OTs. So that's what we're trying to do. Maybe Robert, you can share a little bit the next steps. And I think we had a nice presentation, nice discussion, and we're going to conclude this, in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Aurel.
Yes, it's exactly as how you described, Aurel. So we'll send minutes of this meeting. We'll send, we resend the action plan and the document that was corrupted. And we'll ask for feedback before the next meeting in writing, or you can call us also if you would like, to share some comments on the phone. And then we'll consolidate that in the next meeting so that the action plan is then agreed by the working group, and that AHAB can submit a budget proposal for these items to the GO Program Steering Committee. And then we will also share some insights into who will be well-poised service providers to do parts of this work. So the who of doing this will also come in the table on the next meeting. Thank you. And back to AHAB.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you, Aurel, and special thanks to those of you who spoke up and shared your thoughts. Those are very useful to us. Clearly, 1 hour was a very ambitious meeting time, but we wanted to maximize the number of participants for this inaugural meeting, and we look forward to getting feedback in between meetings, and we'll over time we'll figure out just how to be most efficient in gathering thoughts and inputs from each of you, and then mobilizing based on the feedback and based on the collective will. So once again, thank you all for making time to meet with us today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Like Aurel and Robert have underlined, the GO program it is our mission to support you all in this regard, and we're very keen to do that. And throughout the remaining year plus of the GO program, to do everything in our power to advance towards the goal that we all collectively feel are the most important and the greatest priorities towards unlocking additional finance to underwrite activities for climate resilience, energy transition, and related activities. So once again, thank you all very much. And my colleagues and I wish you all well, and we look forward to meeting in the near future. Good night and
Thank you,
goodbye.
Ahab. Good night.
Good night.
Bonsoir.
Thank you very
Good
much.
night. Good
Thank you.
day.
Goodbye.
In this global setting.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Merci. Bonne
Thank you
soirée.
very much.
Bonne journée. Good day. Goodbye.